Good evening, everybody. I have decided to do a short little bit of a commentary about how it's often really hard to get your training goals done. I'm running a fear-free snake avoidance course, and there are a lot of steps involved in actually getting to the point where your dog's going to smell the snake or see the snake and come running back and do the thing all on their own. There's a lot of things like emergency recalls, getting them to do an indication, all those things are bundled in. And just like any project, there's multiple steps. So one of the first things I'll say about that is have a clear idea of what the steps are, so that you know when you've completed one part of your project enough to move on to the next bit. Avoid perfectionism. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough, because you'll continue to refine that as you're moving on. The other huge issue that all of us face, and I have this from my clients, I have this from myself, is that life gets in the way. It is such a pain because stuff happens and your individual training session is not high priority. So it tends to get, shuffled aside. So my tip for that is, first of all, have some way in your, whatever your organizational system is, whether you use a calendar or a diary or whatever it is that you use to organize getting to appointments, catching up with friends, all that stuff. What I would suggest is that you set up a date with your dog for training stuff that you need to do. If you already walk your dog once a day, guess what? You've got a training session already booked. So you can do that. So if your goal was to do 3 of these short training sessions for your project, a 3-week, then I would set up 5. Because you know that stuff's going to come up. So, if you make 3 out of 5, you've succeeded, even if stuff crops up. Also, when life really happens in a big way, somebody gets hurt, you get sick for a period of time, don't be freaked out, because your dog is going to remember stuff. It's not like you've partially trained something and over time that stuff will be erased from your dog's memory. It's still there. You may have to do some reminder sessions to get back on track, but it's still there. A lot of dogs will pick straight off where you left off a month ago. Particularly if you're using reward training, they're highly motivated, and the biochemistry of their learning cycle in reward-based training helps them to lay down memory. So it isn't a big deal if you have to have a break in your training project. The other thing I was going to mention is have your stuff ready to go. So just as an example, this evening, somebody was talking about struggling with the emergency recall because their dog is ball obsessed, and if they lose the ball, they won't come back. Guess what? We're going to use another ball to reinforce an emergency recall that's like really close to start out with. So what does that require? That requires having 2 balls all ready to go, in with the leash and the treat pouch or poo bags, whatever you already take on a walk. It's already there. All you've got to do when you stumble out the door at however early you go, you just pick up the bag of stuff, shove it in your pocket, and you're done. And when you have woken up and you've gotten there and the dog is running around, you have all the stuff. By that same token, someone was talking about using chicken in training, and we don't want to use that as a lure. We want to use that as our surprise. So to do that, prepare ahead of time. Roast the chicken, chop it into cubes, put it into ice cube trays in the freezer, seal it up, and when you need it, you pull it out, put it in a plastic sealed container in the fridge, and as you're heading out the door, you snag that and put that in the bag. So it is a surprise. So there's just a few tips for you. Obviously, no one else is up online at this stage. I don't see any comments. But yeah, if you would like to leave me some comments, some other ideas how you stay organised and on top of your training projects, I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, hopefully you've taken away a couple of good tips. And yeah, I'll see you out there at the park while you're training.